Hey everyone! So as many of you know, or I'm sure most of you know, this past Friday the new Star Wars The Force Awakens movie came out, and there's been this huge craze and hype over this movie. Part of that is Covergirl created a collection of makeup, a Star Wars collection, and they have different looks corresponding to different characters in the movie. So they have a Chrome Captain, a Jedi, a Dark Apprentice, all these different things. And so today, for fun, I decided to recreate the Jedi look that they have. I think it's pretty fun. It's kind of funky and kind of futuristic with eyeshadow that goes all the way up to the brow bone, a darker inner corner, and then a very highlighted line that goes out. But it's pretty cool, especially if you're into cosplay or if you really like Star Wars. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week with another video. I'm starting off with the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Full Coverage Foundation Concentrate in the shade Ivory. This shade is a little bit on the light side for me, but I'm going to be making up for that later with quite a bit of bronzer, and I'm applying this foundation with the Damp Beauty Sponge by Real Techniques. For concealer, I'm using my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer in the shade Light Neutral. This is my go-to concealer, and it blends out great using a damp beauty sponge. Before I move on to my cream contour, I'm going to set my under eye concealer with some loose powder before it creases at all. But I'm only setting that area because if I set where I'm going to do my cream contour, it'll start to look cakey. You want to keep all the cream and liquid first and then move on to powder to finish it. For this Jedi makeup look, I'm doing my cream contour a lot differently than I normally do. So I'm using the NYX Correct Conceal Contour Palette in Light, and I'm taking that dark shade, it's a dark neutral brown, and I'm applying this under my cheekbones and then dragging it slightly down toward my jaw as I get close to my mouth. I'm also applying a small amount of this cream contour on my forehead near my hairline. I'm blending out all of my cream contour using that same damp beauty blender that I was using in all of the other face steps. And then on the cheek contour, I'm blending up and back just as usual. Once I finish blending all of my cream contour, I'm going to set everything in place with a loose powder. To intensify the contour, I use the bronze shade from the Lorac Protego palette with a Morphe M330 brush. This is actually an eyeshadow brush, but the fine point allows you to carve out the cheekbones a lot better. And this shade, in retrospect, probably wasn't the best shade to use because it's kind of warm. A better shade would have been NYX Blush in Taupe, or just a neutral or cooler toned brown that creates more of a shadow effect on the cheek. To contour my nose, I use that same Morphe M330 brush with the bronze shade from the Lorac Protego palette, and I applied this shadow to the tip of my nose and then from the head of each brow down the side of my nose, and then I use my beauty blender and a big fluffy brush to blend this out.
I suggest a new strategy, Archon.
Only different in your mind.
A very important part of this look is the highlight, so I use the Becca Champagne Pop Highlighter with a 501 brush and applied this to the top of my cheekbones very liberally, to the tip of my nose, and then with the excess put it on my cupid's bow, a tiny bit on my chin, and a tiny bit between my brows. I didn't want to look greasy, but I just wanted to look glowing like the stars.
A Jedi uses the Force.
Inspired by the strength and power of the Jedi, I decided to go with a stronger brow using the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Soft Brown. Ta-da! The brows are done, and I'm setting them in place with the Anastasia Brow Gel in the shade Brunette. The eyeshadow is one of the defining features of this look, but it's incredibly easy to achieve. I'm starting with the Morphe M332 brush with the color Tease from the Naked 2 palette, and I'm blending this all over my lid and slightly into my crease. You don't really have to be perfect with it because we're just going to cover it up later. And then I'm taking the shade Chopper from the Naked 2 palette on that same brush, and I'm blending it all over my lid, crease, and all the way up to my brow. I'm trying to create a straight line from the outer edge of my eye straight up to the tail of my brow. I'm also concentrating quite a bit of the shadow right below the head of my brow in that inner corner. To deepen up the eyeshadow just a little bit more, I'm using the shade Busted from the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette, and I'm putting this on the inner corner, also using it to define that outer edge line. And then I'm just going to do the same exact thing on the other eye.
Apology accepted. Be done. Underestimate the power of the dark side.
To create the fun white highlighted effect under my eye, I use the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk. Now I just have to say that if you have a darker skin tone than me, you could easily use just a concealer stick or something a few shades lighter than your own skin tone, but since I am so fair, I went with this Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. It's white, really cheap, and it's a good option. I'm applying this creamy pencil all the way from my inner corner along my lower lash line and all the way out in a straight line toward the tail of my brow. Then I'm going to use a concealer brush and I'm going to blend it out. For the lips, I just used Vaseline. I thought it looked very natural, glossy, and pretty functional for a Jedi, if you ask me.
I'm keeping the lashes pretty natural. I'm just going to curl them and put on a coat of the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara in Carbon Black. At the end, everything still looked a little bit too subdued to be for a Jedi, so I added a little bit more bronzer using a big fluffy brush, and I also added MAC tan pigment all over the lid and all the way up to the brow bone. This made it a little bit more bronzy and dark, and I liked the look a lot better. That concludes my Jedi makeup tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.